ABA is applying behavior analysis, the science of behavior analysis. So it's scientifically proven. So the research to figure out why individuals behave the way that they do has been taken and then applied to how we learn and how we learn to talk. That's one of the things that makes that's unique about autism treatments. A BCBA is a board-certified behavior analyst. That's someone who has their degree in a related field. So right now those fields are psychology, behavior analysis, and special education.
My main goal when I receive a client is to begin an assessment through interviewing parents and teachers and caregivers, as well as doing formal assessments, like for example the VB MAP. And from all of that together, I create individualized treatment goals for my client and then train my set of direct line therapists who are going to work with this client and provide ongoing supervision.
My position here at Building Bridges is direct line therapist. I do one-on-one therapy with children who have a diagnosis of autism.
So autism spectrum disorder is a difference in the brain is how I would describe it. So it's not always a negative difference either. So I have a lot of clients who have been way smarter than me in specific areas, but they're impacted in communication, in social, in behavior, and in sensory.
Also, there's frequent repetitive behavior is a common symptom of autism, such as like hand flapping, rocking, repeating phrases, words, etc. I mean, every child is very unique and different. Those are just a few of the commonalities across clients.
So sensory needs are things like they experience the world a little bit differently. So different sounds might be more or less aversive than it would be for us, or the way certain things feel, so textures. So for example, if you and I were trying to regulate our bodies, we wouldn't be thinking about it, but we might shake our leg a little bit, or we might twitch our fingers, or we might mess with our hair or something like that. And that's our body regulating itself without us knowing it. And so a lot of our kids are more dysregulated, and so they do things that are a little bit more different to regulate those things. So you might see them flapping their hands, or you might see them seeking sensory input, seeking squeezes, or shaking a string in front of their eyes to get some visual stimulation. So it could mean a lot of different things.
Stimming is a form of self-stimulatory behavior. Most often the function is automatically reinforcing, meaning that it's self-gratifying. The child or person engages in that behavior because it feels good to them. For Maddie, his stimming looks like rocking back and forth, hand flapping, repeating noises, and also looking at lights. And he enjoys those things. He finds them self-gratifying, which is why he engages them.
Right now we're using a PEX board with Maddie. He has a booklet that has Velcro and pictures to it. So he uses an exchange system. He'll take a picture off the book and exchange it to his therapist, friends, or other adults around him, which will let them know using the picture system if he needs to use the bathroom, if he wants a toy, he needs help with something. And then right now we're trying to get him to verbally tell us so that we can work on his speech skills in the ABA as well. So it's just his PEX board is an additional voice for him.
So tokening comes from a token economy system, which has research showing, proving its effectiveness as a form of a visual reinforcement system where the child earns tokens, where the child typically has like a token board with a designated amount of tokens, and each time a child receives a token, it's paired with praise, and when the tokens board is full, then the child exchanges that for a more preferred reinforcer. So over time, this child learns that these tokens are valuable because they get him access to his more preferred reinforcer. So.
Pairing with Maddie is a lot of fun. You really take his role and do what he wants to do. He loves to run around, play with strings, laugh. He loves the alphabet and numbers. So just even reciting numbers and swinging with him and just being friends with him and enjoying the things he enjoys is fun.
So we typically have to train parents a different way to handle and work with their kids. So we use a behavior skills training model, which basically is we tell the parent what we're going to do, we give them a rationalization or an explanation, and then we model it for them. We show them how to do it, and then after we model it for them, we allow them to engage in the behavior, so they then imitate our model, and then we provide immediate feedback. So we tell them what looked great, what we still need to work on, and then we just keep repeating that with the behaviors that we're looking to develop in the parents so that they can master that skill and then learn how to work with their children in a more functional and successful, effective way. As well as waiting, you just have to wait a little bit, or if accepting no would be like, you can't have it at all right now, we have to do something else. Providing reinforcement to the child when they are doing something correctly. That's something that often gets neglected, is parents often give children attention mostly when they're engaging in problem behavior, but forget to catch them being good and give them reinforcers when they're being good too. So that's another form of parent training that we do with Maddie's parents.
It's helpful for Maddie to be in groups because it gives him social cues. It helps him learn how to achieve attention. Typically, it helps him make friends or learn how to make friends.
Groups allow for like a more social group environment for Maddie as opposed to the one-on-one therapy that he's receiving. So the groups allow him to feel more like a classroom setting, which is going to be more standard, the standard way of teaching he's going to have in school, through all of his school years. So we want him to have the opportunity to learn in a group environment, because if we can teach him in a group environment, that means he can function better in a group environment in school, because he's learning the prerequisite skills, like being able to sit in a group, attend to the teacher, hear an instruction that a teacher gives to the entire group, not necessarily face-to-face to Maddie, and know that, hey, this is an instruction for me too, and all of my friends around me. I need to listen to this too. So he doesn't necessarily only learn that I only listen when I'm told one-on-one or face-to-face.
Maddie got help from a lot of different domains. He not only received behavior therapy, but he got PT for his calves to be able to walk flat-footed. So it helps stretch out his calf muscles so that he'll be able to wear regular shoes and be able to walk and play and run. He also receives OT services that again helps with his oral motor skills, so he can try to eat more textural foods and be able to regulate himself, fine motorly, being able to do puzzles, which eventually helps him in school to write and read. He's also receiving speech services. He's considered a nonverbal child.
So it is an incredibly rewarding job. It's challenging all the time. It's challenging to see those situations. It's challenging to see someone hurting themselves or to see someone hurting other people. But to be able to change that and improve the life of those people is incredibly rewarding. And
It's definitely really rewarding, especially when the families say that they are benefiting. I've had parents email me stories where, they tell me about they finally were able to go to a restaurant and have dinner, and the client or their child, was able to sit through dinner without any problem behavior, able to eat food that they had never ate before, or, they played well with a peer that came over for a play date and things like that. So those stories, when parents email me those, are probably one of my favorite and most rewarding things about my job and my career.
Challenges is definitely dealing with problem behavior. There are times when you really have to psych yourself up for a session, knowing that a child's had a rough day at school or knowing that they're just having a rough week. But the rewards is just sharing in the little things with them. Getting excited when they do the little things, like use the bathroom properly or read a word the first time, is really exciting, just to be there and to show them that the little things matter and that they are special and that someone does care.
in 2001, I think it was, there were 1 in 250, I think, kids with autism, and that had changed from 1 in 10,000 kids with autism in the last 10 years before that. Since then, it has gone from 1 in 250 to 1 in 50 kids with autism at this time. So it's everywhere. People with autism are not always not understanding what's happening. So I think it's important that everyone learn more about autism so that they don't look at someone who's not speaking or who has a label of autism and automatically assume that they don't understand what's happening. Or I think it's important because everybody is different and there's lots of stigma from the past, and it's not going anywhere.